very well be one of those organizations, as you're about to see.
And that part right there is, in my opinion, the most important part of this, because Charlie Kirk passed away. Some people say he's still alive, but that's neither here nor there. But what is important is what Turning Point USA has become. Turning Point USA is now being used as a conduit to psychologically manipulate normal everyday churchgoers into doing something that they never agreed to want to do. And altogether, to me, it looks like an entire psyop meant to take over the country in two different facets: the church and our children. Because as we all know, Turning Point USA has chapters in high schools, colleges, and possibly middle schools. So what I want you all to do now is to check out the churches and see if you or your family members are going to any of these churches. And if you do, or your family members do, I'll just say it like this: you or whoever is going to these churches are in grave danger. Screenshot each one of these pages and check with your family members to make sure they're not going to any of these churches. Here we go. The first column is a church, the second column is a city, the third column is a state, and the fourth column is the size of the church. So make sure to screenshot all of this. This is Arizona. Some of these churches have 20,000 members. So now this is Colorado. Make sure to screenshot all of this. Now we're in Nevada. The biggest problem with all of this is the one time that we're the most vulnerable is when we're in church. And some of you may be watching saying, oh, okay, this is just the West Coast. Actually, no. As we go forward, it's not just the West Coast. Now we got Texas. And Texas has
in a quarter mile, turn left onto Old Cartersville Road.
So it's not just the West Coast. Screenshot these churches and take heed to who is going to these churches in your family, because they are in danger if they are going to these churches. More Texas churches. There's more Texas churches than California churches. Still going. This is scary. And I'm going to give you more information on what is actually happening in this PSYOP in a minute. I just want you to screenshot these churches and move on from there. All right, so this is a mix of Texas and California.
This just in, a new way of healing is sweeping the country, and it's a card game called Like Mother, Like Daughter. This game is powerful. My favorite question was, if you could parent me all over again, what would you change? This card game has a
and that's the problem with this whole thing. And I want you all to think about this. They paid these pastors
turn left onto Old Cartersville Road,
come in and infiltrate you, your family, and your children. I wish they would have had the columns here, but I don't know what exact state these are in. More churches, more churches, more churches. Everybody deserves to make a living, but everything can't be for money. Everything can't be for sale.
Like 20 pages maybe of churches that they are infiltrating. Show Faith by Works, a Christian education and Israeli information campaign. The activity combat low American evangelical Christian approval of the nation of Israel.
This is word for word, verbatim, from the Jerusalem Post by Benjamin Netanyahu in 1990. If we get caught, they will just replace us with a person from the same cloth. So it doesn't matter what you do. America is a golden calf, and we will suck it dry, chop it up, and sell it off piece by piece until there is nothing left but the world's biggest welfare state that we create and control.
And just so you know,
that's why
these words came from Benjamin Netanyahu. Actual quotes.
Because
why? Because it's God's will. And America is big enough to take the hit. So
we're really at war with Israel.
And again, this is what we do to the countries that we hate. We destroy them.
Continue for 1.5 miles.
To be our slaves. So the man that they've convinced us is supposed to be our greatest ally. In 1990 was quoted saying that he plans to destabilize America and then in the process turn us into a forever welfare state which they control, and we will be their slaves, because that's what he does. That's what Israelis do and Jews do to the countries that they hate. And
it's
they
not
want to
the
make them their
Jews,
slaves.
it's the
And the reason why they're doing this is simple. They hate everybody that isn't from that country. It's in their religion. You look up the Talmud, they hate all of us. White, black, they hate all of us. But the psyop, or the trick, is them saying that they're God's chosen people. And because they say they are God's chosen people, which is actually not true, they're able to manipulate the United States into being a part of the PSYOP.
FARA registrations, that is Foreign Agent Registration Act registration. There are working directly for the state government of Israel in America to influence and educate Christian Americans. And I think Turning Point USA Faith might very well be one.
In a half mile, turn right onto College Road.
This is the DOJ website, FARA registrations, Foreign Agent Registration Act registration.
Sadly, Turning Point USA has been used as a conduit to take the hearts and minds of all of us
To
and
destroy
pull on all of
America.
our heartstrings, because that's possibly why they assassinated Charlie Kirk right in front of everybody to emotionally manipulate us. And if you watch my content, you'll know that, in my opinion,
Basically,
whether
we
he's still
destroy
alive or whether
ourselves.
he's not, the actual public assassination was actually a sacrificial ritual.
Through
Turn
stupidity.
right onto College Road.
This specific one is number 7653 on September 27th, 2025. 2 weeks after Charlie was killed, just want to put that note in there. A FARA registration was filed by Show Faith by Works LLC. Show Faith by Works LLC.
Continue for 1.5 miles.
Chad Schneitger.
And make sure to subscribe to this guy's channel. His name is Zach Costello. He makes great content.
Foreign
God
agent
bless that.
that is registered as the principal on this is Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Services for Project Management. Describe the nature of the registrant's regular business or activity. Pro-Israel outreach, marketing to Christians.
Marketing to Christians is the thing that stands out to me. And just for the record, I'm not against this group of people. I just want them to leave us alone. So I have no hate in my blood for anybody. I just want them to leave us alone. Why are they in another country coming over here trying to market their country to us?
Melissa Lundy, Richard Twong-Do, Robert Pursley, Emily Hemingway. They added more, and I will show you that in a second. As you can see in the foreign principles, they are all working on behalf of Israel, Foreign Ministry of Foreign Affairs. All right, let's continue to go down here. Receipt of monies. They've already received $325,000 by Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs through Havas Media for the purpose of Christian outreach in the Western United States. We'll continue to go down here. I want to show you guys number 14. So I want to note they've received $325,000. The total amount of this, according to this registration, is over $4.1 million. And
$4.1 million. There need to do something about this. See, we as common people, we don't have millions of dollars to go against this. If we as a society stop going to these churches, at least these churches that are on this list, and we use our feet to walk out of these churches, and we use our eyes and ears to stop viewing and listening to these people, we win. We don't need money. We just need our feet, our eyes, and our ears, and we can win.
that foreign entity there is on behalf of Israel, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then number 14 right here. Will any individuals or organizations, including public relations firms or publicity agents, participate in the preparation or dissemination of informational materials? They answer.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Ivy Meadow Drive.
Who is Iran Shayevich? He's leading Project 545, which aims to amplify Israel's strategic communication and public diplomacy efforts. He's the chief of staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as you can see right there, for Israel. What is the purpose of
Turn right onto Ivy Meadow Drive.
Here's the key right here. What is the purpose? Why are they doing this? Why are they spending millions of dollars trying to...
In 600 feet, 70 Ivy Meadow Drive, Dallas, Georgia 30132. USA will be on the right.
And that is here in number 8. Describe fully the nature and method of performance of the above indicated agreement or understanding. Christian outreach through various grassroots and digital targeting of Christians in the Western United States. We will create a mobile museum to display it.
70 Ivy Meadow Drive, Dallas, Georgia 30132. USA is on the right.
After your kids also.
Will target and distribute pro-Israel information online and through targeted geofencing. Remember that. Targeted geofencing and digital online tools.
And I'm glad he brought that up. I've talked about geofencing ad nauseum. All right, this is a great explanation of geofencing. Check this out.
On September 18th, 3 days before the memorial, official government filings showed that the country we're not supposed to talk about wired money to a company called Show Faith by Works. That same filing says the company signed a $4 million contract with that country we're not supposed to talk about, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to run what they call a Christian church geofencing campaign.
So as you can see, the same company, the same people that geofenced Charlie Kirk's memorial are now geofencing virtually every main church in the West Coast. Not just the West Coast, in Texas. In my opinion, they used Charlie Kirk's memorial to actually see if the technology was able to geofence that many people all at one time. How many people were at Charlie Kirk's memorial? 277,000 people. So now it's proven that the technology actually works.
Here's what that means. Invisible GPS fences are drawn around churches and Christian colleges in states like Arizona, California, Nevada, Colorado. Basically, when your phone enters those zones, it can be tagged and then later hit with targeted ads or messages.
Remember, the memorial was where? In Arizona. Where are they targeting all these churches? Arizona, California. And to go even farther, in the
The
psyop.
strangest part isn't Charlie Kirk. It isn't even TPUSA. The strangest part is the lineage behind it. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino wrote a book called Mind War while stationed at the Presidio in San Francisco. Not a self-help book, not a political rant, a blueprint for psychological warfare. Mass persuasion, narrative control, cognitive terrain.
Psychological warfare. They want your minds.
And Aquino was also an open Satanist. He never hid it, never denied it. Now here's the part people skip past. Aquino didn't write Mind War alone. His collaborative with retired Major General Paul E. Mullally. Fast forward. Mullally sits on the board at Turning Point USA.
Will Laley sits on the board of advisors for Turning Point USA. All of this has something to do, or a lot to do, with Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk.
So take a step back. Strip away the merch, slogans, the crowd noise. What is TPUSA actually doing? It's not just debating ideas. It's persuasion at scale, changing minds, moving groups, steering perception.
So I need everybody in the comments. Do you go to any of these churches? Check out everything that I shared with you. And let me know if you or anybody in your family are going to any of these churches. And altogether, what is your opinion on all this? Make sure to screenshot these churches and send it out to your family members and say, hey, are you going to this church? Are you going to this church? And remember, it's not just the West Coast, it's Texas also. But hype this video, share this video, hit the like button, comment your thoughts in the comments.
If you had one wish involving us, what would it be? That we got along better. Okay. The day that you told me, like, I was so happy for you. My mindset toward you completely changed. I think after you had her, you realized, like, how hard it is to be a mom. And, like, when you look back at things that maybe, like, made you mad at me, you realize, like, okay, well, that is hard.
Just bought this mother-daughter card game because I came to the realization that my issues with my mom are not resolved, so I decided to do something about it. Just played this card game with my mom.
She called me uncle. 3 weeks later, she didn't recognize me.
Would you date him?
No, he looks tired, older, kinda like...
Hi, Natasha Belling here. In this episode of The Briefing, we chat with UK royal historian and author Andrew Lowney. Now, this interview comes on the same day that King Charles has for the...
If you go to church, no matter what church you go to, this is a very important video for you to watch. So make sure to watch it all the way to the end, because this information I'm about to show you, not only...
If you are not yet a member of the Patreon, link is in the description. Please consider becoming a member, as you will have access to many videos you cannot find here on YouTube.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.
Over the past several weeks, we have covered the release of the heavily redacted Epstein files and many revelations that have come from it, including a war veteran by the name of Sasha Riley claiming to be a victim himself, explicitly accusing President Donald Trump, Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas, and even Senator Lindsey Graham of being complicit in PDF file behavior alongside Jeffrey Epstein. The Epstein files also accused Leon Black, former CEO of Apollo Global Management, of sexually abusing children in Epstein's home, including a 16-year-old autistic and a 10-year-old as well. These allegations were reported years ago and they were investigated, and then they were buried. No charges, no accountability, and this man is still walking free. Not to mention how the files speak many times over about illegal transportation and the unaliving of children, and we have yet to see the arrest of anyone in America. However, in today's episode, we will be exposing the very reason why I believe that many of these predators have not and most likely will not be held accountable. And that is because this behavior has been normalized for years before Jeffrey Epstein's first victim. Welcome back to another episode of Diddy Got a Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Diddy, back with another episode. And as always, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Please hit the like button on your way in. It will really help the video. And link is in the description to the merch store, as we will be running a sale this weekend. T-shirts will be $16 and store-wide everything will be 27% off. That is another way that you can support me. Now that we've gotten it out the way, let's get into today's topic. R. Kelly, P. Diddy, Shirley Temple, and even young actress Judy Garland, who played Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz many years ago, all four of these people have something in common. They are either the victim or the alleged predator of PDF file behavior in the entertainment industry. But more specifically, what they really have in common is that the parents were complicit in each of these scenarios. And that is what today's video will be about. I want to talk a little bit about how many of the things in the Epstein files that we've been reading and seeing and hearing about has been normalized for years, especially in the entertainment industry, as many of us already know already. However, this video is going to be a little bit different because the person in the TV show we will be talking about today was a bit more blatant than any other example I've ever spoken about on this channel before, as this TV show was engaging in pedophile behavior publicly for everyone to see, and there were no consequences for it. And the name of that show is called Just Like Mom, which was a Canadian family TV game show that aired on CTV from the years 1980 to 1985. And in each episode, the way that it would work is that 3 teens, including a child, their mom, or even occasionally their dad, yes, their dad will be present as well sometimes, which I can't even begin to understand it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. It would be a child, their mom, or occasionally their dad that would compete in this game show. And the way it would work is that the children would answer a question while the parents were off stage, and then the parents would try to match those answers similar to the format of the Newlywed Game. And then there was something called the quote-unquote bake-off challenge, where kids had to create a surprise recipe and moms had to identify their child's dish. And then the winning team would be able to spin a prize wheel for things like a trip to Walt Disney World. We spent an ample amount of time over the years on this channel speaking about Walt Disney World, its ties to MK Ultra and Freemasonry, but that's a video for another day. The creator of this show was a lady by the name of Catherine Swing, who was the former Miss Canada of 1978. And any of you that's been following this channel so far, at least over the past 2 or 3 months, regarding the Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk situation, then you would know that I've exposed the modeling industry, its ties to the illegal transportation of human bodies, pedophile behavior, and the entire industry being a front to launder money. So I mentioned that to say that it's no surprise to me that one of the creators of the show, Catherine Swing, is the former Miss Canada, being that she came from that world. So the things that you're about to hear about shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. So anyways, Catherine came up with the concept of the show, and then she co-hosted the show from season 2 onward. And then the original host of the show was a guy by the name of Stephen Young, who hosted the first season from 1980 to 1981. And then for unknown reasons, he would leave the show, and then he would be replaced by a guy named Fergie Over, who would then co-host the show with Catherine Swing, who was actually his wife. And they will co-host the show from 1981 to 1985. Now, I want to make sure that I emphasize before I show you these clips that everything I'm about to show you was not only normalized, but it was accepted and applauded by the audience. And to this day, there has been no consequences and no accountability from any adult on this game show. Because in many of these clips, you will see that Fergie Over often asks young female contestants, mostly girls under puberty age, for kisses on the lips during the program. And many times they even told them, no, not that it matters, right? Because it was inappropriate, it was pedophile behavior, it was creepy, it was predatory, it was out of bounds. Somebody should have stopped them, somebody should have said something, but no one ever stopped this guy. And I want to emphasize that there were over 600 episodes in 5 years with more than 1,800 children that guest appeared on this show. And you can see that many times the children were very uncomfortable as he placed his hand on their back, sometimes in their lap, but you couldn't really see exactly where he was placing his hand because the podium was in the way.
Sarah, speaking of kissing, when do you think, and this might become an X-rated show soon, when do you think your first kiss will be from a boyfriend? At what age we will accept 1 year either way? Mom has decided she wants to be a playboy bunny. What will Dad say? You look like a young lady who likes to give lots of hugs and kisses. I'm digging. You're both very pretty. You have green eyes. Are they? They're not blue. Now, don't tell me that. Look at you. They're green. Are your eyes green? Have any boys comment on your eyes? Hugs, kisses. I should have known a sweet-looking gal like you would pick that one. You give out kisses, though, don't you, Steph? You don't, too? All right, what, you like hugging and kissing?
Drive southwest on Memorial Drive. Then, in 900 feet, turn left onto Legion Road. Turn left onto Legion Road.
You got any boyfriends?
Yeah, one.
One boyfriend? What do you do to, when you're alone together, what do you do to?
We have so much fun with 6-year-olds on this show.
Heck, you don't have to be afraid of us. I'm glad you let me share this chair with you. This is comfortable up here.
But there was even one episode where his wife literally called him a creepy old man, and he just continued on as usual.
Well, I guess you can't win the show then. If I don't get a hug and a kiss. Yeah. You hear that?
And for the record, the very first guy who initially co-hosted the show, Stephen Young, he wasn't nearly as creepy as Fergie was, but to be clear, he was a little bit creepy and stepped over lines as well. Because the whole theme of the show, a lot of times they would be asking the children inappropriate questions that even back in the 1960s when things were different, it was a different time, I still wouldn't understand and can't understand what it is exactly you're looking for, what kind of answer you're looking for from a child with these types of questions.
You got any boyfriends?
Yeah, one.
One boyfriend? What do you do when you're alone together? What do you do
Just talk.
You just talk? And that's all? You wouldn't tell me anyway, would you?
No.
No.
And the most frustrating thing, outside of the fact that no one was ever held accountable for this, is that Fergie Over will go on to have a very...
Drive southeast on Merchants Drive, Georgia 60.
Blue Jays, as he was infamous for the phrase, "How about those Blue Jays?" But he was also given awards later in life, which I've learned over the past 5 to 7 years that this is how the world actually works. It's almost like the good guy finished last phrase. The people who are actually doing the dirt, the people who are the most creepiest, are usually the ones that are the most awarded or rewarded. And to make matters even worse, they even re-aired the show, or another version of the show. I believe it's called Just Like Mom and Dad. But I want people to understand why something like this would not only be normalized, but celebrated. And I believe this is because in the early 1980s, part of the reason that this sort of inappropriate behavior was considered the standard is because of a guy by the name of Richard Dawson, who hosted Family Feud, because he would regularly kiss contestants, even adults, on the cheek or the lips as a regular part of the show. Again, I understand these are different times, but that doesn't excuse any of it. So part of the reason why this is important is because you have to understand that a lot of these people are coming from a time frame where these things were normalized, where parents were raising their young female daughters to greet stranger men, to greet their bosses like this. So when we're reading through the Epstein files, a lot of these guys are coming from an era where their parents were teaching them that this was normal behavior, and the times just changed. So they had to go into hiding. That's part of what I believe has taken place, right? So you all up in the comment section, did you all know about this game show? Was there something that I left out? Do you know people that lived during that time frame that normalized this behavior? Hop in the comment section, give me your thoughts. Pray for everybody mentioned in this video. I'm Demetrius. I'll catch y'all.
Hey, if you wear contacts, this is about to change your entire life. I've been ordering my lenses from 1-800-CONTACTS, and honestly, I didn't realize ordering could be this easy. I always run...
All right, we got some big news here, guys. Bill Clinton has testified over his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, you guys know that Bill Clinton is seen numerously throughout the Epstein files. There's a number of photos, there's a number of emails that directly point to him. Now, going into the Epstein files, I did tell you that you need to put partisan bias aside, right? Like, you got to understand that there are people implicated on both sides of the aisle. And I have to say, it was quite frustrating to see what I saw during Bill Clinton's testimony on social media, where a number of people who are part of the Democratic Party were trying to do everything that they could to exonerate Bill Clinton, to excuse Bill Clinton, to defend Bill Clinton. I saw the same thing earlier on when I talked about a previous release of the Epstein files, where I saw Republicans trying to do the same thing to and for Donald Trump. And I want to be very clear about this. The Epstein files are not partisan. The Epstein files are not just about trafficking. It is about corruption overall, whether it's foreign policy, heads of state, rituals.
What up, Tommy?
Other sick acts that we've talked about before. And people have to understand that corruption is not partisan. Corruption is based on power. That power is based on class. Now, before we get into Bill Clinton's statement, I just want to remind you of another example when Bill Clinton spoke. Clinton spoke directly to the American people and lied to your face. Let's all go back, shall we? During Bill Clinton's presidency, here's Bill Clinton, here is Hillary Clinton, standing by her man, as she always has, regardless of what accusations came out against him. Just a reminder what he said about Monica Lewinsky.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Terry Riley, for the Community Learning Centers. I'm very proud of what we've done there. Now, I have to go back to work on my State of the Union speech. And I worked on it till pretty late last night. But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
And of course, you'll see there's Hillary Clinton again standing beside him. And I just want to remind everybody what Bill Clinton said after this, after DNA evidence proved that he was lying because Monica Lewinsky hadn't washed that blue dress. And certain aspects of Bill Clinton remained on that dress, if you know what I'm talking about. Had it not been for DNA evidence, Bill Clinton would have stood by this statement. Hillary Clinton has always stood by Bill Clinton. You couldn't tell me, even then, in that moment, you couldn't tell me a million times, couldn't tell me that she didn't know that her husband was having sexual relations with the White House intern. She knew. Women know. We always know. And Hillary is no different. So later on, Bill Clinton had to come forward, you know, after the DNA evidence, and he had to tell the American people that he lied. But even in doing this, he tried to say, well, it wasn't as I understood it at that time. Listen to this.
Good evening. This afternoon in this room, from this chair, I testified before the Office of Independent Counsel and the grand jury. I answered their questions truthfully, including questions about my private life, questions no American citizen would ever want to answer. Still, I must take complete responsibility for all my actions, both public and private. And that is why I'm speaking to you tonight. As you know, in a deposition in January, I was asked questions about my relationship with Monica Lewinsky. While my answers were legally accurate, I did not volunteer information. Indeed, I did have a relationship with Ms. Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part, for which I am solely and completely responsible. But I told the grand jury today, and I say to you now, that at no time did I ask anyone to lie, to hide or destroy evidence, or take any other unlawful action.
I'll be right back.
Drive north, then turn right. Drive south, then turn left.
There we go. Bill Clinton. Turn left.
My public comments and my silence about this matter gave a false
Drive
impression.
north, then turn right. Drive south, then turn left.
Even my wife.
No, you lied.
In 600 feet, turn right onto Thomas B. Murphy Drive.
Hillary wasn't misled. Bill Clinton had a history of not keeping it in his pants.
Turn right onto Thomas B. Murphy Drive.
There were women accusing Bill Clinton back then. He still went on to run for president and won.
In 700 feet, turn left onto US 278.
George H.W. Bush was supposed to win re-election, so that really wasn't supposed to happen.
Turn left onto US 278, Georgia 6.
And I have to say this as well. As a woman, you know. Back then when he was governor, she knew it back when they were in college. Bill has never kept it in his pants. She stood by him because of political aspirations. So one has to ask themselves at some point, maybe this was a relationship of convenience, not necessarily one of romantic love throughout. Whatever the relationship was, Hillary knew. I'll let this go on for a little bit more here.
In a half mile, turn left onto Old Harris Road.
I can only tell you I was motivated by many factors. First, by a desire to protect myself from the embarrassment of my own conduct. I was also very concerned about protecting my family.